23rd of June. Only one more Monday to go, and that's it, folks. That's it. July and the 4th of July and all that, and we just roll through the year. It's just amazing what's happening. There's an article up today written by Preston James, Ph.D. It's about 4 or 5 news blocks down. He is an extraordinary man on every account and writes things that nobody else will write. This particular article has to do with the space ET issue again, which is by no means all Preston James writes about. The article is entitled Alien Agenda, this is part 4, Alien Ultimatum or Final Warning. Now, if you've been listening to me for any length of time, you know I'm a big fan of 1951 Robert Wise's The Day the Earth Stood Still, starring Michael Rennie, the ultimate E.T. ambassador, who comes here to lay down an ultimatum. Either drop, disassemble, and shut down all your nuclear energy and weapons programs within a week, or the planet is toast. That, my dear friends, is the only thing, in my opinion, that would ever bring sanity back to this world. You've seen what Fukushima has done, and I ran across a post on a forum today, and somebody was bitching about the Fukushima coverage at Rense. Too much. No, it's the greatest catastrophe in human history. We need to recognize that. You folks do, but those who don't see it in the mainstream media remain in the dark. And when people talk about Fukushima, they would rather not know. They stick their heads somewhere, and that's it. So whatever, I could care less. Fukushima is a monstrous problem. In our third hour tonight, Yoshi Shimatsu will join us to give us an update on that. But in the meantime, we have Preston James here in his new article, Alien Ultimatum or Final Warning. Hello, Preston. Thanks for being here. Great to talk to you.
Yeah, hello,
always.
Jeff. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. All right, the article itself, let me just read a little bit to our listeners and then we'll talk about it. Has a final warning been delivered by a benevolent alien ET group that the super elite oligarchs running planet Earth must quickly clean house or suffer a final judgment, a cosmic reset? Several top inside sources, including Veterans Today senior editor Gordon Duff, have claimed that a very serious message was delivered to super elite oligarchs. As reports go, a somber military-style briefing was delivered during a recent meeting of a certain top group of super elite oligarchs, not the CFR or Trilats, but perhaps a group something like Pilgrim Society. The Pilgrim Society is something that we don't talk about very often here, but we'll find out more about that. Now, as I said to start things off, I hope that's true. Preston, I really do. There's no way to talk logic, common sense, or humankind care and concern and decency to these people. They are beyond evil. I'm not sure that they're entirely human, but whatever's running this planet is not you, it's not I. It bears no reflection whatsoever to being a human on this planet, in my humble estimation. Tell me more.
Okay, it's very controversial because this is all, deeply guarded by layers and layers of secrecy. It's very hard to get at it, but something this important does leak out, and there have been, rumors for the last actually 50 years that, various nations were communicating with aliens and making treaties with them, and that some of these groups were benevolent or neutral, and others were parasitic upon the human race. And apparently the most powerful group, the Dracos, they're called, are the people that went into business with the Rothschild families and helped them accrue all the banking power. Apparently, this goes all the way back to the Babylonian black magic and the money magic, the ability to make something from nothing. You know about this, Jeff, as more than anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, of course, it's very hard to deduce this, but I've heard different things over the years. from insiders, and I've had some really good sources, and they don't always agree. But basically, the idea was that there has been an alien agenda from this one dominant group. Supposedly, they're called the Dracos, but not everybody agrees. Mm-hmm. But they call them apparently reptilians, or this, some people call them the serpent people, or the cult of the snake, whatever.
Reptilians is the most common.
Right. But they appear to inspire all the various death cults, like the Skull and Bones and opium trade, and they tend to empower those people that create mass death wars and various things. That apparently they have this agenda. They want to depopulate the earth, and they want to terraform it and really get rid of all humans. That's their goal. Mm-hmm. But they have to use cutouts. Now, what I've been told is that there are cosmic rules of play in the universe, and that there is a God Almighty. But for whatever reasons, he apparently there's a big principle of free will in play here now, where he wants people to be tested, and he allows people to make their own decisions. So what happens is you have collective will determines the direction in society, and I think what has happened is he has put limits on what these evil aliens can do. Well,
if he hadn't, it would have been over by now.
Well, that's right. We know that they have advanced technology, anti-gravity, lasers, all these various electronic weapons. We know that, but apparently there's something limiting their use and what they can do. So the story that I have gotten from a number of different sources, which tends to agree, is that unless they receive consent in the people, they're limited as to how far they can go. And
consent
apparently,
of the people, you say?
Consent of the people, the masses.
The sheep have to go ba.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the way they do it is they specialize in mind control, but especially symbols. Symbols on the building, symbols on the money, like advertising.
Well, they put it right out there. They don't hide it. It's right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Like car names are all based on various supposedly alien groups, Saturn and all these things. So there's always some hidden. They believe that there's some kind of spell or magic cast, and of course, when you combine that with their death rituals and human sacrifice, they believe that the shed blood of humans empowers it somehow. That these apparently their energy parasites are somehow empowered by this.
Well, apparently they also feed upon human anguish, suffering, and the most horrible terror. This is their kind of their life's blood. They just really like it. Look, last century we killed over 100 million people in war, and they supposedly oversaw that, encouraged it, and
That's
if
right.
you can believe these rumors, they love it.
Yeah, but see, it's come from way too many sources to just be rumors. And
I'm not. I agree with you. It's all over the place.
And I know that you know history as well as anybody, but you know that this goes all the way back. These kinds of stories. Now you can look at it from a biblical perspective; it fits. You can look at it from a Muslim perspective, and it fits. Actually, it fits in all. There's history and literature in every culture that.
Look at the Aztecs. Human sacrifice, cutting out hearts. Come on,
right.
Throwing the dead bodies down the steps of the pyramids. People would fall on them, cut them up, take them home, and eat them. That's one of the big secrets that the Mexican culture doesn't want us to know about. That the Aztecs were cannibals.
That's right. And of course, what apparently recently happened, and this coming from good sources, that there was some kind of a meeting of how there's various business meetings where they have luncheons and then they have speakers in and whatever, and it could be a trilateral, whatever. But there was some big business meeting. Don't know what it is. People are not saying what it is, but these are the really big shots. The Pilgrim Society is, and there are other societies like that. But these are, there's a waiting list to be in there. You have to be invited. And
I don't know much about the Pilgrim Society at all.
Charles Lavoie wrote an article on it. I think if you look up Pilgrim Society, there's quite an interesting article on the internet, which is considered the authoritative thing. But apparently this group was told that, look, it's a mess down here on the earth, and unless this is cleaned up, the corruption stopped and cleaned up, 90% of you people won't be here in 2 years.
Well, that fits in with the avowed goal of the globalists. I mean, they want to reduce the world population by 90% or more.
But it could be that the people that were being talked to are the ones largely responsible for all this.
That's correct. That's absolutely right.
So what I think what the message is, Jeff, is that the group, the group that this came from was benevolent. They are not the perpetrators of all the evil in the world, but they've been sort of neutral. But apparently, they've made a treaty with Putin, and Putin, whether he's just faking this or whatever, he's a brilliant strategist and politician, and he's made a covenant with the Christian Orthodox Church in Russia, and he's met with them a number of times, and he's asked them what they wanted. They wanted, aid to Christian families that have more kids because their population replacement rate is too low. It doesn't even meet the losses of death. So he's made special deals with them. He's promoting the church, the rebuilding the churches, and all. He's outlawed public displays of homosexuality and propaganda in the schools supporting it. He's come down real hard on all these anti-Christian values. About the Pussy Riot girls.
Sure.
How he arrested them. They were doing. Anyway, so the guy, if this is not real, he's doing a pretty good job fooling everybody. But apparently, there's been a whole moral shift in Russia. So now the new Russian Republic, these are the good guys, and we've become what the Soviet Union used to be.
This is exactly what Edgar Casey said in the early 1930s, that one day Russia, and this is the early part of the so-called Long Cold War, the Soviet Union, Bolshevism. He said one day Russia would be a light to the world, and those days are here.
It's very strange, isn't it?
It is amazing. Casey was no slouch. He was for real, and that came in one of his trance readings. So here we are. Now, let me just fast forward and overlay some geopolitics. Ukraine and its oligarch pig Porky president, I call him Porky Poroshenko, has unilaterally declared a ceasefire and a peace plan. Now, this is supposed to come across in the Western Zionist media as the man is trying to defuse the situation. He's really a good guy. Ceasefire, peace plan. That plays well in people's subconscious. It works. Unfortunately, what he's doing is buying time to ramp up the entire Kiev military machine, and he's sending apparently thousands upon thousands of troops to staging areas in the east, outside of the Donetsk and Lugansk areas, and just tremendous amounts of hardware. And when the peace plan fails, and it will fail, there'll be a false flag or anything, then the slaughter begins. Then the Kiev army moves into the east and begins to slaughter the people in Slavyansk who've been without water and power and most of their food for the last month, and that will force Vladimir Putin to step in militarily. And it will be, that decision will be greeted by almost universal applause around the planet. It's got to stop. But this is what's going on. This is not a ceasefire on humanitarian grounds. This is a ceasefire predicated on municipal, I guess you could call Kiev a municipality. It's the capital, whatever. Military geoplanning. They are massively ready and getting prepared to roll through the east. That's what's happening. This was an opportunistic move, not a peace plan, not a ceasefire in the sense that we'd like to see it.
Well, it's a con job. It's a big con job.
It's a hustle. And that's what's happening. Now, what you said about Putin is quite right. He has emerged as the world's most articulate, shrewd statesman. He is truly a leader of his people. I think his approval rating is in the high 80s or something like that. He's doing it right. And what we have over here leading this country is beneath garbage. Criminality, moral depravity, international militarism, and death. Look what we did to Iraq, Preston. You know full well the story as well as anyone could. We went into that wonderful country that was being held together by Saddam Hussein against really almost impossible odds. Everyone was getting along, the minority, the minorities, and all the other fragmented groups. He made that country the most westernized, advanced Arab nation on the planet. We went in and bombed it into oblivion, ordered his execution. He was murdered. By the way, the ISIS group killed the judge who sentenced him to die the other day,
That's right.
or last week. So we have we annihilated an entire country.